Josh Naylor to the Seattle Mariners. They need corner infield help, and look at them go here. Cam, you first. What did you think of this one that broke last night?
I thought this was a great move for the M's. I think, when you talk about the M's and pitching, they have a plethora of that, and they just reloaded in this year's draft. And they do a great job of developing their arms. So when you look at these two prospects that they sent, both in their top 20, and Garcia, listen, he is a punch out machine. I think this guy is very close to being in the big leagues already. I think the other young man is in A ball, but again, a top prospect. And then, then the Diamondbacks unload Naylor before possibly a hammy happens or something happens and they can't unload him. So I think this is a great deal. I believe in Kevin Seitzer and what he can do. Hopefully that is that piece. I know they wanted Eugenio Suarez, but I think the price was too high. And I like this move for both teams. And then on the other side too, the Diamondbacks believe they have Jordan Lawler ready. So I don't know if that somehow they move Eugenio over to first right now, bring him. We'll see what happens, but I like this trade for both teams.
Jeez, Cam, don't be putting that hammy all over Josh Naylor.
Hey
He just
man,
got to
you know
Seattle.
Crafty.
Come
Diamondbacks are
on,
going. Whoo, whoo. We need
Cam
arms,
trying to put that hammy all over Josh. He just got there in his M's uniform. I like this. I like this pickup. I honestly feel like Ryan O'Hearn's sitting there going, "Whew, okay, good. I'm not going to Seattle," because there is some. You need to have that plate discipline locked in, because there's going to be days where the ball just is not going. It's just not coming out of the bat. It's not coming out of the batter's box. You need to make sure you have your plate discipline, which Josh Naylor either worked on this year or he has made a specific concerted effort to improve. I think it's a great pickup for him, and I don't think the Mariners need to be done, and I love that they've actually done something, because we tied so many first basemen to the Mariners in the offseason, and they finally got one.
And let me add this too. And I think at the end of the day, this is a great trade, and I think Crassios agree. Randy Rosarina has been out his mind this season. Cal Raleigh could be the MVP. At the end of the day, this is a great piece. He had some fire, he had some fuel. But the what they say, the straw that stirs his drink, it's Julio Rodriguez. He has to start to play like a superstar. He brings the energy, he brings a smile, but his play hasn't matched that charismatic energy that he brings. He has to play like a superstar. When you add Josh Naylor and Jerry DePoto goes and makes this type of move, your superstar has to play just like that, a superstar.
Cam, you said they get Naylor, and yes, Kratz, they had been looking into him since last offseason. They called about him when the Guardians put him on the trade block. Diamondbacks made a better offer. It was a pick and Slade Ciccone, who's been in the rotation for Cleveland. I thought it was a big mistake for them to trade him. For me, it was Cleveland kind of telling us, we don't totally believe in what we're selling this year. They felt like Santana was a better replacement. That was a mistake in my mind. But anyway, we move on here. I think Naylor's an underrated player. I know he's not the best defensively. I would say he's a drop below average, but on offense, this guy can bring it for you in big spots. He is one of the best contact hitters in the sport, yet still gives you slug. He actually even has 11 stolen bases this year. I just think he's a winning player. When I watch him play games, he does winning things, and he makes clutch performances, or has clutch performances hitting-wise very often throughout a season. I don't know what his win probability added number is, but I would bet you, if you watch Josh Naylor from front to back in the past few years with the Guardians or this year with the Diamondbacks, you'd go, yep, this guy's a winner. He belongs on a playoff team. That's what he's doing right now with Seattle. Next layer here. Do you think the Mariners could be real players for Gino Suarez to bring him back to Seattle, which in my opinion would kind of be his nightmare? Remember, he's been talking like, oh, the Yankees would be cool. The Reds would be awesome for a reunion. I haven't heard him on the record talk about Seattle. It has nothing to do with the org. That park's kind of a nightmare. For Naylor, he's a contact guy. It might take a little bit of his pop away, but he also sheds the qualifying offer. He's going to be pretty happy with being 28 years old hitting free agency. For Gino Suarez hitting free agency, going back to Seattle. And also, let's remember, Seattle dealt him away, and they were somewhat public about how they didn't want as much swing and miss in their lineup. They kind of took a shot indirectly at Gino. I don't know. I think someone else is going to bid higher for him, don't you?
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. And that was ill-advised, taking a shot at Gino Suarez, because his strikeouts were not a product of Gino Suarez. It was a product of what was going on in Seattle. Could he improve if he goes there with Kevin Seitzer? Look, it's 2 months. Kevin Seitzer's sitting there going, "Hey, go do what you do." And to me, I don't think they're in that realm. I don't think they're even going to be close to Eugenio Suarez, because I just think other teams need him, have a fit, and will pay extra. Jerry Dipoto loves to trade. He loves to make moves, finagle things, but he's got one of his hands tied behind his back from ownership. And it might not be a money thing with Gino, but it ends up being a money thing because of all the prospects that need to be moved. I just don't see the Mariners doing it.
No, it is a money thing too. Gino costs $5 million the rest of the year. That's real money.
Yeah, but it's not that. It's not that much money. It's not that much money for the Mariners. It's more money.
It's not. I disagree on this one. It's not that much money. It shouldn't be for the Mariners, but it is, because ownership's super cheap. Anyone in Seattle knows that. They saved up for years, and then they let them down with the budget the last few years. I don't want to play the whole ownership cheap game, but it is true. I don't know what Naylor's getting for the rest of this year, but it's at least a few $1 million, right, Kratz, based on his ARB number.
Yeah, I think he got 10 or 11 in ARB. I'd have to look it right up.
So probably a few mil left. Then you add Gino. Now you're looking at going to your owner and saying, I need 8 for the last couple months of the season. And their owner is cheap. I'm just saying, I would not be surprised if he got turned down on that. I mean, Seattle in the past sometimes has had to ask teams to give them some money back on trades, even though it wasn't that type of player. You know what I mean? Where it's like that awkward phone call and you're like, can you eat a little? My owner's making me do it. I'll give you a better prospect. And the teams are like, what?
I hear you. To me, the only way Gino's money comes into play is when you start talking about the teams over the luxury tax threshold that are going to pay $5 million for Gino. We're at the 110%, so we're technically paying 10.1 for Gino, or 11.1 for Gino instead of just the 5s. To me, that's where that comes in. I think the Mariners will make another move, and I think it could be close to that amount of money. To me, I thought I read something that they were in the $9 million range, where they could move and be able to have $9 million worth of movement at the trade deadline. So does that mean they need to trade somebody? I don't know who they would get rid of as far as for money, but I'm saying they're still under that, and Gino would still be under it. Again, it's kind of like the closer thing we talked about. I just think other teams are going to put in a larger bid, whether it's prospects or whatever it is, to get Gino, and that's where they'll fall short.
Okay. I think Willie Castro could be a name. I don't know if he's been linked there, but he could play a number of positions for the team. Okay. And yet, if Williamson does thrive for them the last couple months, Castro can fill in other spots. I see more of that type of move for this team. They love Twins players too. I mean, Polanco's been a guy that they love. And anyway, I think they did solve a big issue over at first base. You know, it was Rowdy for a bit while he was hot, then Donovan Solano and Luke Raley. This is a big upgrade. This is a 123 OPS plus. That's 23% above league average. Like Kratz mentioned, the on-base percentage is fire this year. He smashes right-handed pitching. I know it's going to be in Seattle, so things might tick down a little bit in the power department, but nice pickup here by the Seattle Mariners.
What did the D-backs get for first baseman Josh Naylor? Well, let's start by just saying if you are trading a rental first baseman, Naylor will be a free agent at the end of the season. You're not going to get a ton. Don't expect a top 100 prospect. And you didn't see that here. You were talking about Ashton Izzi, right-hander, who is the number 13 prospect in our Mariners top 30, and Brandyn Garcia, left-hander, who is our number 19 prospect. They're very different, though. They're both pitchers, but in Izzi, you are talking about a potential starter, one who is far away. He's in A-ball right now. He has a starter's mix. He manages to miss bats. There's everything here to maybe be a starter, but you're also talking about a guy who's an A-ball who has a lot of those, a lot of work to do, because there's a lot of work between A-ball and the big leagues. If he develops as the Mariners hoped and now the D-backs hope, you are talking about a guy who could start, could be 3-4 years down the road in Arizona. That's a realistic timeline if everything goes right. That's good. But at the same time, you also have to acknowledge that a lot of these pitchers who look like this in A-ball end up being relievers. Some of them end up getting hurt. Some of them run into, control troubles or other things that derail them along the way. You are talking about a chance at a big league starter who also has a chance to be a big league reliever, and you just understand that you are taking the risk that a lot of things still have to happen for this to all come together. Garcia is very much the opposite end of the spectrum here. Garcia is a big league ready. He did pitch a couple of games with Seattle. Big league ready lefty reliever. It's solid stuff. You're talking about a 96, 97 mile an hour sinker. He works very horizontally, in and out. He's a lefty with a sweeper and a sinker who you're kind of going to really expect him to be solid against lefties, and you hope he's good enough against right-handed hitters to make it work, as a optionable reliever. I think that is a key thing here. Every team covets relievers who can go up and down. So when you are worn out in your bullpen, you can send a guy down, or if you're worn out and you need to bring a guy up, you can bring a guy up. And then when you are kind of in a better place, you can send that guy back down. That is something that Brandyn Garcia will be able to do for a couple of years here. I would say you're talking more likely about a lower leverage reliever, not someone who's going to pitch the 8th or the 9th, but the ability to do that right now, especially if you can start to throw a few more consistent and quality strikes. That's a useful reliever to have, which is a nice pickup, as we said, for a rental first baseman. But if you're Seattle, you were able to add a first baseman who will definitely upgrade a clear weak spot for the team. And you did it without dipping into the top end of what is a very impressive top tier of prospects.